These are the Nunobiki Herb Gardens. Probably the most beautiful place in Kobe City. A lovely selection of flowers, ice cream in the shade, and a wonderful view of the Kobe waterfront. But by far, the best part of it all is that the admission is free. Sort of. See, there is no posted admission price. The front gate is indeed free to enter. It's just that most people pay to take a ride on the ropeway because the gardens are kind of on the top of a mountain. But what that means is that if you're willing to make the climb, you can get in free, which is exactly what I did. The lavender ice cream just tastes sweeter that way, you know? Let me just start out by saying they do not really intend for you to do this. If you go via the ropeway, you get this lovely arch proudly announcing the gardens and ropeway entrance. And there's this nice little walkway leading you up to the station. But if you want to take the hard way, they'll give you a hiking map, sure. But then you start your journey by walking through this dingy tunnel underneath the Shinkansen track. I personally started the climb and was greeted by this spaghetti pile of a map and the final bathrooms. Go now or forever hold my pee, I guess. Here was where I had my first doubts. This map and that map definitely didn't seem to have much in common, but I soldiered on up the very uneven steps. Now, the nice thing about taking the trail is that you don't just get to dodge admission, you also get to see some pretty cool stuff. And the first big attraction was this waterfall. Sometimes in life you stumble across a place that makes you think, man, this must have been pulled straight out of a video game. And for sure, this waterfall is one of those places. Unfortunately, this was my first time using this camera, so instead you get an awkward side angle with a better vertical phone clip overlaid on top. Directly afterwards, there was a nice little rest stop. Apologies for not getting better footage of it. I try to avoid filming people without their express permission. Anywho, if you've seen my 500 yen coin history video, you know that Japan loves its vending machines. So much so that there's literally one on the side of a mountain. I feel sorry for the poor soul that has to lug drinks up here, but I'm eternally grateful that I was able to get some water for the rest of the climb. The next main attraction was a viewing platform, the Miharashi Ten Bodai. This comes with a beautiful view of the Kobe waterfront and finally some bathrooms if you need them. And lastly, it's just a matter of walking up the road that gives vehicle access to the gardens, and there she is, the Nunobiki Herb Gardens. Again, they don't really expect people to climb up themselves. After all, I gave this poor gardener quite the start when I basically snuck up behind them. So here's where the actual garden begins. I believe the intention is to take the ropeway all the way up, walk down to this station, and ride it back down, but, you know. The very first thing I did when getting to the garden proper was buy this special lavender ice cream that I think was flavored using lavender from the gardens. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Unfortunately, coming in early August meant that a lot of the flowers were on their way out, but these sunflowers were out and smiling. It's kind of odd, but the flower I was most excited to see was the wild strawberry. They used to grow, well, wild back home in Michigan, and they'd produce these super cute, smaller than a pea-sized strawberries, which tasted exactly like the large variety. I first noticed them in front of the bench I ate ice cream at, which was a nostalgic surprise. After a little walk up the path, I ran into this wonderful little fountain with fishies swimming around and a little walkway up to it. Continuing on, I made my way to the glass house, which is basically just a big old greenhouse. Again, I try to avoid recording people's faces without permission, so apologies for not having the best footage of everything, but this place was packed with stuff. My favorite part inside was by far the indoor stream just running through the place. Outside on the veranda, I got to enjoy a special herbal foot bath. They take herbs from the garden and put them in these little baggies and let them soak. Now, there's a little path off to the side where I found the Two Lovers' Bell, literally translated as the Bell of Oath or the Bell of Vow. You're supposed to ring it with your significant other for happiness in your relationship or whatever, but I rang it solo. Now, I think the God watching over the bell didn't really appreciate a single person ringing the bell because 9 days after ringing it, I got my first ever girlfriend. So I guess it all worked out in the end. On the way out, I got to do this cute little arts and crafts thing where you make a coin bank that looks like one of the gondolas on the ropeways, which looked awesome when I made it, but it had a hard time surviving the trip back home. After that, it was just a matter of walking a bit more up the walkway, and that was it. I finally made it to the summit entirely under my own power. And I gotta tell you, it made the view all that much sweeter. This is where the ropeway's final stop is, so there's quite a bit here. I stopped and smelled the flowers, dried my sweaty bills out so I could get myself a nice lemonade, which was very bitter and honestly not good at all. Stopped by the gift shop to pick out a few charms, and then it was time to head back down. Now, I could have walked back down, but I wanted to experience the ropeway, so I dropped the 1,000+ yen and took the ropeway back down. In the end, it was a lovely experience. Would I recommend hiking up the mountain just to dodge the entrance fee? No. but would I recommend hiking up the mountain for the experience and to get to see the sights? If you're willing and able to, yeah, it's really cool how they have the whole system set up. But that will do for now. Apologies if I sounded a bit a bit weird. I'm currently running a fever as I record this. If you want more from my adventures on my vacation, feel free to drop a subscription and tune in the next coming weeks. Of course, check out the other social media, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.